Hello everyone, I'm Shannon Kelly, Social Media Manager at the Toronto Real Estate Board.
And I'm Jason Mercer, the Toronto Real Estate Board Senior Manager of Market Analysis.
Now Jason, the housing market was of course top of mind for many households as well as the media this month. Can you tell us how March unfolded and the first quarter on a whole?
Well, first and foremost, the housing market remained affordable in the Greater Toronto Area. So we saw a household earning the average income able to comfortably afford monthly mortgage payments, property tax, and utilities. Now, it's also important to note that the share of income going towards those major home ownership costs was still well below the 39% ceiling set out by Finance Minister Jim Flaherty in his most recent round of mortgage rule tightening.
Now that sounds very positive, Jason. What were the sales reported last month?
So we saw 7,765 transactions through the Toronto MLS system in March, and that was down by about 17% in comparison to March 2012. But it is important to note that Good Friday fell in March this year versus April of last year, and generally speaking, we see much fewer transactions through the Toronto MLS system on statutory holidays and weekends. So that certainly factored into the decline that we saw last month. Now, it's also important to note that March also marked the end of the first quarter. And so in the first quarter of this year, we saw 17,678 total transactions. And this again was down by about 14% in comparison to the same period last year.
So Jason, aside from the holiday falling in a different month, what else resulted in the dip in sales?
Well, some households have certainly put their decision to purchase on hold as a result of changes in government policy. So, of course, we saw stricter lending guidelines come into effect midway through last year, and that has seen some households take a step back, move to the sidelines to sort of reassess their home ownership decision. In the City of Toronto, the upfront land transfer tax, additional to the provincial LTT, has also played a role. But it's also important to note that some households who are looking to purchase a home right now just haven't been able to find what they're looking for because of tight market conditions, specifically a low level of supply in some market segments from an historic perspective.
So sales were down, but price didn't follow the same trend. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that's right. If we look at the average selling price for transactions in March, it was almost $520,000, and that represented an increase of about 4% in comparison to March 2012. And if we broaden the scope, we see the average price for the first quarter as a whole came in at a little bit more than $508,000. And again, that was a year-over-year increase of about 3%. And so the key factor underlying this has been tight market conditions, especially in the low-rise segment of the market. So there's been a lot of competition between buyers who are looking for, say, a single or a semi-detached home or a townhouse. And so this competition is exerting upward pressure on pricing. And so as a result of this, I'm still forecasting 3.5% growth as a whole for 2013, and that'll see the average price coming in at about $515,000.
Excellent. Can you also forecast some better weather for
sure
April?
Try.
Okay, perfect. Now, over this month, you can still connect with us on Twitter at TrebHome as well as on Facebook. And from both of us, have a happy April.